President Rodrigo Duterte puts pressure on the leaders of the House of Representatives for the delay in passing the 2021 Philippine national budget. In a televised address, Duterte tells speakership rivals Alan Peter Cayetano and Lord Alan Velasco to leave him out of it.
Pero wag na nyo akong idamay sa away ninyo. Tapos in the future, people will be asking what happened to the administration of Duterte. Either you resolve the issue sa impasse ninyo dyan and pass the budget legally and constitutionally. Pag hindi ninyo ginawa, ako ang gagawa para sa inyo. Hindi ako nananakot. There is something more, higher than just delaying or maneuvering in Congress because everybody wants to be speaker.
Senate President Tito Soto hits Cayetano and says the House of Representatives did not delay the budget process by just a day, but by a whole month. This comes after Cayetano claims his move to suspend session prematurely only makes a difference of 1 day on the Senate's timeline, and that further delays would be the Senate's fault. In a tweet, Soto says, quote, "Do not be misled. The House of Representatives has delayed the budget for a whole month." He adds, "No one can ever blame the Senate for this delay. Never." Senator Panfilo Lacson also suggests the House hold a session before November to buy time for the Senate to finish work on the budget, in time for Duterte to study and sign it before the end of the year. But presidential spokesman Harry Roque says Malacanang will not hesitate to call for a special session in December if lawmakers will need more. Meanwhile, presidential son and House Deputy Speaker Paulo Duterte changes his tune on the ongoing tiff between Cayetano and Velasco. In a statement on Thursday, October 8, the younger Duterte echoes his father's position that Velasco has the right to assert his claim to the speakership because of the term-sharing deal between him and Cayetano, but admits, quote, "A considerable number of our colleagues still support Speaker Cayetano." This is a complete turnaround from roughly 3 weeks after he threatened to unseat Cayetano upon hearing their colleagues' complaints about the inequitable distribution of public works funds under the proposed 4.5 trillion peso budget in 2021. Despite some blunders in the government's pandemic response, a Pulse Asia survey released Thursday, October 8 says 8 out of 10 Filipinos approve of the Duterte administration's handling of the coronavirus health crisis. Conducted September 14 to 20, the survey shows 84% of Filipinos express a positive opinion on the government's efforts. 6% express disapproval, while 10% have mixed sentiments. 9 out of 10 Filipinos also believe President Rodrigo Duterte has, quote, "done well in terms of preventing the spread of COVID-19 in the country." The Philippines has the highest number of COVID-19 cases in Southeast Asia, with nearly 332,000 total cases as of Thursday, October 8. The Health Department also logs 2,363 new cases and 144 new deaths, breaching the 6,000 mark in the total number of deaths. Meantime, the country enters Phase 3 of the Duterte government's plan to address the COVID-19 pandemic this month. The phase will involve allowing more businesses to operate and more people to leave their homes while abiding by health protocols.
Phase 3 will be our transition plan to the new normal from the last quarter of this year, rolling down the road towards the first quarter of 2021.
Galvez notes the negative impact of the lockdowns on the economy and says only granular lockdowns will be imposed. Meantime, the World Bank warns on Wednesday, October 7, as many as 115 million people could be pushed into extreme poverty because of the economic impact caused by the pandemic. This is higher than the bank previously estimated in August, when the worst case was pegged at 100 million. Meantime, a study says the rich continue to get richer despite the pandemic. A study published by Swiss bank UBS and accounting giant Pricewaterhouse says innovators and disruptors in the technology, healthcare, and industry sectors took advantage of the trends during the coronavirus crisis. Billionaires like Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk edge out those in more traditional areas like entertainment or real estate. The study reveals the cumulative wealth of billionaires worldwide stood at around $10.2 trillion by the end of July. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque trends anew on social media after memes of him inviting tourists to visit Boracay Island went viral online. Roque visited the famous beach after it reopened to tourists on October 1. Filipinos online made memes out of one of the spokesperson's photos in Boracay where he was seen with outstretched arms while inviting tourists near the shore. Roque shares these memes on his official Facebook page on Wednesday, October 7. He wrote, "Akala nyo di ko to nakikita? Tawa lang kayo." US President Donald Trump declares his COVID-19 illness as a blessing from God. This comes as Trump heads back to work in the White House despite warnings his return could put others at risk.
I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise. I caught it. I heard about this drug. I said, let me take it, and it was incredible the way it worked.
Trump's rival Joe Biden attacks the president's downplaying of the risk, saying it's a tragedy that the president deals with COVID like it's something not to worry about when over 210,000 people in the US have died. Meanwhile, Trump and Biden's running mates Mike Pence and Kamala Harris square off in a debate Wednesday night, October 7, or Thursday morning in Manila. Harris calls Trump's COVID-19 response a historic failure and should disqualify him from a second term. Harris says the president said it was a hoax. They minimized the seriousness of it. But Pence defends Trump, saying the ban on flights from Wuhan in China shows from the very first day President Donald Trump has put the health of America first. But what stole the show from the vice presidential debate was a fly landing on Pence's head, which stayed for 2 minutes. Meanwhile, the Biden-Harris ticket gets a boost with the endorsement of pop superstar Taylor Swift. Swift tells her 200 million strong social media followers that under the leadership of the two, quote, America has a chance to start the healing process. A graphic calling Ferdinand Marcos the most intelligent and best president in the history of the Philippines was altered. Facebook user Bo Kerr posted the graphic on September 11, Marcos' birthday. It had the logo of ABS-CBN News at the bottom. The graphic is not from ABS-CBN. A reverse image search shows the original graphic uploaded on the verified Facebook and Twitter accounts of ABS-CBN News contained different text. The ABS-CBN News' graphic calls Marcos a dictator. The original photo also mentions the numerous human rights abuses committed under Marcos' martial law, how he was ousted during the 1986 People Power Revolution, and that he died while he was in exile in Hawaii.